Kath, come over here, please.
Couldn't talk about love and not give him a kiss, could we? Let your souls be enchanted. As love shines on a thing, so that thing becomes transformed. And the title of my talk, which I think is an idea worth spreading, is that love is the new global economy. We stand at the foot of the iconic Great Wall. And as you think about that Great Wall now, it was built out of fear. It was built to divide and to separate and to disconnect. And yet this life, as we all know, is about something very different. This life is about connection. This life is about love. And in experiments done with children who were unwanted at birth, where nurses were half of the group, allowed to touch, to talk to connect with, to sing to and rock those children, so those children thrived. Where the nurses were allowed to give only physiological care, so those children failed to thrive and began to die. And from that, the great family therapist, the student of Carl Rogers, Miss Virginia Satir, an Amazon of a woman, coined the phrase that you need, and I need, 4 hugs a day to survive, and 12 to thrive. I rather like that. So ensure you have your ration today. 4 hugs a day to survive, and 12 to thrive. Now, we talk about the Great Wall as dividing and separating. But how many of you have built walls around your heart? Or in your mind? And how does that disconnect you from your deeper self? How does it disconnect you from others in your life? How does it disconnect you from your work, or your clients, or your community, or this world? This is about breaking down barriers. And in a presentation at the BBC last year, I was asked about how to be successful and how to inspire others to success. And I said, there's only one thing that I use, along with my good mind, but it is my good heart. And I use a great deal of love in all of my work. And I find that it opens people wide open to the possibility of transformation and to change. And I ask you to think for a moment now, if you could tolerate the idea for only 1 minute of complete and total love for yourself, now what would be possible in your one wild and precious life? One wild and precious life, what would be possible? If you could not believe in yourself for only 1 minute, now what would be possible? It was Michelangelo who said that the greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. Can you unleash some wild dreams in this one wild and precious life? May it transform your life in the right kind of a way. Because as you think about it now, there are 2 great energetic fields in the world. One is love, and one is hatred and fear. And we're operating somewhere on the continuum between each of those at any given moment, in any given day. Fear is the energy that shuts down, that shields, that uses protected behaviours, that separates us from ourselves and our better future. And love does something very, very different. Fear puts the heart in incoherence. We get incoherent patterns in the heart when we are in fear. But when we are in love, with life, with ourselves, with our community, with this beautiful world, it puts our heart, as we monitor it, into great coherence. It's the difference between alignment and fragmentation of our energy. It's the difference between a whole range of biochemicals. Because love in the heart, as well as a coherent pattern that would come out on any scan, love also creates the gorgeous, biochemicals of oxytocin and serotonin, where fear and pain and hatred puts very different biochemicals in the system. They put the corticosteroids in. They put cortisol in the heart. Cortisol is pro-cancer, is pro-arthritis, is pro-diabetes, is pro-aging. I'm really 93. Love puts some very different chemicals inside of our bodies. And we produce, in a love state, DHEA. I'll only say this one once. Dehydroepiandrosterone. DHEA is the super hormone. It's anti-cancer. It's anti-diabetes. It's anti-arthritis. It is anti-aging. And we cannot make cortisol and DHEA at the same time. They exist in inverse proportions to each other. So we're making one or the other. Which one do you choose? Which one would enhance you? Which one would enhance your one wild and precious life? I ask you to choose carefully and wisely. And the heart has a mind all of its own, a repository for very many neurons. Biggest repository, second biggest repository is the gut. Talk about gut instinct. The third biggest repository for neurons is in the heart. But the heart has a brain all of its own, and it can make functional decisions independently of the cerebral cortex. It can affect higher consciousness. The heart incoherence impacts emotional stability. It impacts intentional action. It impacts positively cognitive functioning. And it impacts our sensitivity to other people. So the heart is a great place in our lives across every range of functioning that the human being can possibly participate in. I remember reading about a great experiment where a drugs company had projected how long it would take some rabbits eating a high cholesterol diet to develop heart disease. And all the rabbit groups developed heart disease except for one group. And they put some CCTV cameras in to see if the technician was sabotaging the experiment. But he gave them a high cholesterol diet. However, as he did, he stroked them, he touched them, and he held them, and they did not develop heart disease. I wonder how much heart disease in our world is caused through a lack of connection, a lack of touch, and a lack of love. Get those hugs to survive, and the 12 to thrive every day. In neonatal units, where weight is the exit criteria, generally around 5 pounds to be allowed to leave the neonatal unit, where nurses and parents are touching and stroking and talking to babies, they gain 49% more weight on the same diet. These are the human factors in medicine and health and healing. And as you think about that now, if you loved the people that were around you, what difference would it make to your relationships? If our doctors and nurses truly loved their patients, how would that impact healing? How would it impact the service within an operation, within a hospital, within a doctor's surgery? If teachers loved their students, and didn't you all love your favourite teacher? Because probably they loved you, and they saw something in you that some of the teachers did not see. What would be the impact on those students? If bosses truly loved their staff, how would working conditions be for you? If the staff in turn truly loved clients and customers, what would the difference be in the economy of that company? Love impacts happiness in the workplace, and happiness in the workplace affects performance, productivity, and bottom line profitability, and massively impacts customer care. Love truly is the new global economy. And as you think about a place for love in your life, can you think about it in a different way? Love is truly an action, not just a feeling. How can you actualize love in your life? And what does that mean for each different person that you meet? But there's a different way to be, in that true enlightenment comes when we are very present with love, with kindness and compassion. So how can you be love in your life? And remembering it is its own reward, it releases delicious chemicals on the inside of you that boost your health and well-being and boost all of your cognitive functioning as well as every relationship right across your one wild and precious life. Love may kickstart this economy when bosses begin to impact their workers with genuine care, genuine love, and think about serving their clients in that kind of way. Love brings the most highest level of service in any organisation, whether a not-for-profit or whether a highly competitive and profitable one. It allows us to do business like there is a tomorrow. No cash and grab in this recession that's global. No cash and grab, but doing business like there is a tomorrow, with a view to continuing relationships and continuing high service wherever we are and whatever it is that we do. What would happen if you did as you loved? And loved what you did? And what stops you from that? What stops you from that? What would happen if you only did what you loved? How would the world change? How would you impact the world? What would be the ripples and the echoes from your one wild and precious life? So I encourage you today to be the love that you seek. But love is an inside job. Sometimes we look to attach it from outside sources, when actually the love that we feel on the inside is the love that we generate on the inside. It was Gandhi who said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." I encourage you to be the love that you wish to see in the world. There's a great Chinese proverb that says, "When there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there is harmony in the house. When there's harmony in the house, there is order in the nation. And when there's order in the nation, there is peace in this world. And the first peace is self-peace." Take a moment to breathe into your heart space and to enjoy the quiet love within that can transform your very own one wild and precious life. Namaste. The light in me burns.